Hi, everybody. We've got about 80 people on so far. Hopefully, we'll have a few more joining as well. Thank you for joining us for what could be our first AFC webinar. That's my understanding. So hopefully, the goal of this is to try to inform you guys as to what the plan is for the fall season and, give you a little bit more information and try and answer any questions you have, right? So, first thing, I've really enjoyed the last 3 weeks. We've been able to get back on the field, which has been amazing. We have, been able to train the kids, get the kids out. I know personally I have 10-year-old twins at home, and having them out in the field and running around and being active was definitely very helpful, trying to get them away from Fortnite and all the other things that come along, iPads, et cetera, right? So for sure that was helpful. We were one of the first clubs in the Bay Area in Santa Clara County to kind of get back on the field. I would just like to take this opportunity to say a big thank you to our operations team. So that's Kelly, Wendy, and Justin, for kind of figuring out the logistics. I mean, that was a challenge within itself. And so those guys, were very proactive about tackling that one and did a great job. I also want to say a big thank you to the coaches, for making sure that everything was done safely. We put together a comprehensive plan, and it was very, very well executed by the coaches. So, hats off to those guys too. We're living through unprecedented times. COVID's affecting everybody's life in many different ways. And so, it certainly had an impact on the club. And, we want to talk about, okay, what does that mean for us in terms of how do we move forward and what do we do in the fall? So basically tonight, there's 4 topics I wanted to go over and then finish with a Q&A. So essentially on this software platform here, we are able to get you to speak and ask a question at the end. So there's a option to you to come into the webinar towards the end there, and you can ask your question in person, and I'll do my best to address it. There's also a chat option on the side that I believe you can use, and so if you have any questions, let me know, and I'll do my best to try and answer any questions that we have. All right, so moving on. So talking about the fall 2020 season, basically, this is kind of the agenda of what we're looking at, right? So first one is what will fall look like. 2, what will the schedule be? 3, day camps and how that impacts what we do. 4 is registration, and finally we'll go over some question and answers as I described earlier. So these are kind of common questions I've had from a number of different people, and also, I think they're kind of outstanding issues that, we need to be clear upon so everyone understands what they're getting into. So for fall season, basically, there is obviously a lot of uncertainty, right? And nobody knows the future. And so we remain really optimistic that we'll be able to continue to train. We have a unique agreement at Pioneer High School through the San Jose Unified School District that allows us to get onto the field. So while other clubs and other sports entities, they have a difficult time getting access to city fields, such as O'Malley or Leland. We've been able to access Pioneer, and so we remain pretty confident that we'll get access to that, providing there's no shelter in place and providing the restrictions stay as they are. So we feel pretty good about that, and so that's definitely a unique quality that Almaden has, and we intend to utilize that to the best of our ability in order to to get kids back on the field and playing, right? And so there is 4, as we see it, 4 different options in terms of how we how things play out in the fall, right? So plan A is obviously, a perfect scenario, right? We get back to normal and we play games and we play tournaments and do everything like that, right? Plan B would be, maybe we can't play games against other clubs. Maybe we could do something potentially in-house, so whether that's a 5v5 league, or we could get creative around that. So, that would be the secondary option where we can't play against other competition outside of our club, but we could play in-house games. That would be plan B. Plan C is kind of where we're at right now. So it's kind of just training only. And so, if that's what we can do, that's what we can do. And then obviously plan D is what we had in the spring, where we had to move to an online education platform. Obviously our hope is that we don't go backwards and we don't go into a shelter in place again. But, we also have to be realistic that, some of these things are out of our control. With that said, the online platform we're going to do in the fall will be much more comprehensive than it was in the spring. It will follow, kind of the number of trainings. So if you had 2 trainings a week, in the fall, you would get 2 online Zoom trainings, and same if you had 3 training sessions a week, you would get 3 Zoom sessions, right? And then the content of the sessions would be much more technical based, and a lot more activities with balls. And so again, we recognize that we had to quickly shift gears in the spring. We did some things well, we did some things where we need to do better, and so we recognize that, and we have tried to put some more energy, and we will put some more energy into supporting our members if that happens. Second one is schedule, right? So basically, the way things have played out, we've done our 20 days of camp, and now we're moving into a 2-week break period. Due to the county health lines, we have to have stable groups, and once you change the stable groups, then you have to take a 2-week break, right? So 2-week break puts us at July 13th. And that's where we'll start again, right? So, we'll start a regular schedule, and our hope is that we go back to a more regular, 2 days a week or 3 days a week type situation. When the health order came out, we quickly put our arms around it and tried to figure out logistically how we could pull it off. And so we put something together for the remainder of the spring. We'll do something similar in the fall, where we'll put something together that we think matches the guidelines, and also keeps players safe, and obviously gives the level of service that we need to give. And so our goal is to get everyone on the field all the time. We have to work through the guidelines to do that, right? And so, to be honest with you, one of the biggest challenges we had was regarding staff limitations. So, for coaches, for example, Coach Rob, he coaches multiple teams. He was only able to work with one group of 12 every camp. So he couldn't do back-to-back sessions or alternating day sessions. And again, this is some of the guidance we're given from the county health department. So, we basically have to follow their guidelines. And so that was kind of some of the challenges, right? So, we had to, work within the framework. We got a couple guys come and help us out as well. I was on the field, Coach Matt was on the field, so we did a lot of covering all bases just to kind of make it work, right? And so we'll also, continue with the touchless curriculum. Obviously, there's no contact at this point. It's all socially distanced. And so, we will continue to do that. We did a lot of technical work over the first camp that we did. Our hope over time is to incorporate more. So, you can share balls, so we can incorporate passing, and we can incorporate finishing into what we do. So these are elements we're going to add to our training as we go here. For us, we were probably a little bit more conservative than some others, but we also wanted to make sure that everyone was safe. So our goal was to be super safe. And so, as time goes on and we become more confident, then we will continue down the path of exploring different activities and different technical exercises kids can do that are engaging and fun, and people want to be there. Next one. Move on to the next one here. Challenges, right? So basically the day camps, there's a few challenges we have with day camps, right? So again, going by the guidance, we have a situation where the children have to stay, or kids have to stay in a stable group of 12 for a defined period of time, right? And so we can't have players come in and out of that group, like train with one group one day and one group another day. And then we can't have a kid right now on a day camp and then, kind of doing another, quote unquote training camp in the evening, right? So those are some of the things we have to work through. And so, I know people are desperate for childcare and trying desperate to kind of get their kids out of the house and doing something. And while we want to support that, we also have to recognize that we have to follow the rules, right? So part of us getting on the field for the last 20 days has meant that we can't get people in camps for the next 2 weeks, right? But, we will be able to start training on the 13th, and we will be able to provide some level of comprehensive training. We will have some day camps starting on July 13th. These are not geared towards competitive players. These are geared towards our recreational program. Our recreational spring program was cancelled. So, lots of these kids still need access to soccer or haven't had that access to soccer. So that's going to be an option for them where they can participate. So those will be running during the day. So they could either be, kids that are not playing right now, kids that are have been in our recreational program, just any kids. So those are available and those are online, and you can see that. We've organised another free camp tomorrow night. That's designed as a recruitment tool for the club. We're actively, looking to bring players into the club that we feel can, strengthen our program. And so we're going to run a free buying camp. So those players that have been on our camp, so any AFC players that's been on our, camp over the last 20 days, essentially is not eligible to participate in that. Again, not through AFC rules, but through the guidelines. And so, unfortunately, those players won't be able to participate in that camp. And so we have players from outside of the club coming in, and we'll be evaluating some players and potentially looking to add players as we go. Registration, right? So the registration is the next piece that I wanted to talk about. And so we, what we've tried to do is to have some level of flexibility. We initially started by separating the club and the team fees. So the team fees are all related to what is paid to tournaments and NorCal and things like that. And then the club fee is related to training. How do we pay coaches' salaries, club overhead and all those types of things, right? So that's essentially what we've done. We recognized after putting out our initial offering that, people were hesitant to sign up for 12 months, which we totally understand. So we put a 6-month option out there so that people could register for just the fall season, given that, we don't know exactly how things play out kind of in the winter months, right? So, so we put that together. So you have the option to do either. If you sign up for a 6-month payment, every player will pay the same amount. So if you register, you pay the $250 initial installment plus the $125, and then they from there, depending on what you sign up for. So if you sign up for a 6-month plan, you would pay for 2-3 more installments. So let's say you registered today. In 30 days time, you'd have another installment, and then another 60 days after, and 90 days after, you'd have another installment. The credit that, and then the 12-month option, you do the initial payment, and then it's done over another 5 payments, right? So same deal, 30, 60, 90, 120, 150. And then the credit that is applied, so if you're a returning player, we had a credit from the spring season. Once you register, behind the scenes, Kelly will go into the back and basically apply the credit across the remaining payments. So, we can basically, whatever's left, she will apply it, on the 3 or 5 remaining payments, however many there are. We have financial aid available. Obviously, due to COVID, it's created some financial challenges for people in our community. So we definitely have that available if people need to. There's a process for that. There's a form to fill out. If you have any questions regarding that, you can contact Kelly directly, or if you go to me, I will certainly set you up with Kelly to be able to facilitate that. We have an early bird special until June 30th, right? And so, the idea of the early bird special is not to, basically, try to make extra money here. It's basically trying to get us organized so that, we can know how many people we have coming back, right? One of my challenges personally that we have to solve on the back end is how we structure training based on the guidelines and kind of the head count. So, what we're really trying to do is try to motivate people to register such that we can then go ahead and plan. So, if you are planning on registering, please go ahead and do so. It truly helps us on our side trying to figure out what it looks like, right? Because if I'm solving a problem for 400 players, that's a lot different than solving a problem for 600 or 700 players, right? So I need to know exactly kind of where we stand. So if you are planning on registering, please do so as soon as you can. If you don't feel comfortable registering and want to take a break from soccer, then you don't feel comfortable with the COVID scenario, I totally understand. We want you guys to feel comfortable in what you do. We'll respect your decision, and if you want to, as and when you're ready to come back to soccer, we'd love to have you back in the program. So, there's no pressure from our side. If you don't want to participate, we totally understand. But if you do, please go ahead and register, right? And so, please know that as a organization, 95 plus % of our revenue comes from player registrations, and so we need to make sure that we manage our budgets accordingly, right? Up until this point, we've been able to take care of all of our people. We've taken care of our coaches and everyone else. And so, we'd like to continue to do so. We just need to figure out exactly, what that's going to look like, right? So there's lots of pieces there. So, please, like I said, if you are interested in playing, please go ahead and register as soon as you can, and then we can go from there. Nobody knows how this thing's going to play out. I wish I had a crystal ball and I could tell you everything is going to be the way we want it to be. We are doing our best to truly to get kids back in the field, get them active, get them out there, and doing something that we all love to do, right? And so, we appreciate, your support over these difficult times. We appreciate the opportunity to continue to work with your child, and, we look forward to kind of continuing to do that over the fall season. So basically, I have a bunch of questions that came in on the chat. I will kind of do my best to screen them. In the meantime, if anyone has any other questions, I'd be happy to have you on, and we can kind of go from there. So let me know if you do want to ask a question. Please indicate that, and I will get you on the screen, and I will try to quickly scan these questions and go through and see if there's anything that I have missed. Okay, so there's some questions regarding trainings. So our plan is to go back to a regular training session. So maybe that's 2 days a week. So that's for an hour and a half, right? And again, the operations team put together a plan on kind of maybe 48 hours notice to kind of get something, interpret the guidelines and put something together that we thought would meet the criteria, right? While also trying to figure out exactly our head count. So, we hope to have a little bit more time this time where we can truly, put more time into planning and kind of really understanding what we can and can't do. So we will work on that, and we're hoping to get everyone back to the field doing an hour and a half training, 2 or 3 days a week, whatever. There's a few challenges, right? One is staffing, one is facilities, and just one is the guidelines, right? So, we'll work through all of those different scenarios and make sure that we can, get kids back on the field, but do it safely. We want this to be safe. We want kids to be as safe as possible. And so we will make sure that we do that as effectively as possible. But, there's a lot of information and a lot of thought process that needs to go into all the planning. Okay, I got a couple of questions regarding trying out. So if you take a break, if you do take a break, which is totally fine, in order to come back into the program, there'll be a tryout will be required, and you'll be placed on the appropriate roster, right? So, if you were to leave the program, we can't guarantee you a spot on any team. Essentially, we have to put, training groups, minimum training groups, whether that's rosters or training groups together to kind of get people going here. So, we will do that, how it looks in terms of 6 months' time, then obviously we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, right? But we can't guarantee anyone's spot on any team. We have to wait and see and see if that happens. So, okay, there's a question regarding staffing. So the coaching guidelines are that they can only work with a group of 12 for right now. So a coach couldn't do Monday, Tuesday, and then Thursday, Friday, or they couldn't do morning camp and then evening camp with a different group. So again, that's kind of some of our headache and some of the things we have to work through. There's a couple of questions regarding fees, and things being refundable, right? So the reality is that we've asked, for so 6 month payments. There is, the first payment is, 250 plus the 125. So initially your payment is $375, right? We're collecting fees, 30, 60, 90 days out. So if we hit with COVID, obviously, there is the opportunity to potentially, cancel your payments at any point. If we get to that point, my hope is that we're able to go through. Obviously, that's beyond my control. All I can do is tell you that, we have access to Pioneer. We have, coaches motivated to get out there, and, we will do everything within our power to do that, right? And then, like I said, worst case, if we can, I know Zoom is not necessarily everyone's favorite thing to do, but it's also sometimes, ultimately the best that we can do. And so we will make sure that we put all our energies into making that as good and as comprehensive as we possibly can. To talk on screen yet. So, if anyone feels the courage to do that, please feel free. There's lots of written ones that I need to run through. Someone's asked about the case in terms of we cannot have games, right? So just to be clear on the fees, the club fee portion of the fees is regarding games. The team fee is related to anything regarding games. So we haven't charged anything for any tournaments or any games or anything like that. We will only do that if and when we're able to do so. So if we are able to do that, there'll be a team fee. We'll only charge a team fee based on what we can provide. So let's say there's league games, but there's no tournaments, then we'll only charge for the league fees, right? So again, we're trying to control the pricing as best we can such that you don't pay for things that we don't get, and try to create a situation where, it kind of takes care of everybody. You guys feel comfortable with what's going on. We're able to, continue to compensate our coaches, and we're able to continue to operate as a club. And so ultimately that's what we're hoping to do. And we'd love, your support in helping to do that as well. Question regarding goalkeepers. So again, as time moves on here, we can get more creative. So, we could potentially separate out goalkeepers and do a separate session for goalkeepers. But if we do that, they have to be separate from the group. There is word that the guidelines may change. And so, we have to remain flexible. Where we stand today is completely different than where we stood a month ago. And probably in a month's time, will be completely different to where we are today. So if we, if things change, then we will continue to be flexible. We'll continue to be fluid. We'll continue to make sure that, we do the best, we provide the best possible service, and we make sure that we do it in a safe manner, right? And so again, we're going off what we know right now. Again, that may change, and that may be a different story in, a month's time, 2 weeks' time, 3 months' time. I don't know. But all I do know is that we are committed to making sure that we can do as much as possible to get on the field and do whatever we can, even if that means, social distancing and not having contact at training. We're committed to making sure that we create, fun environments that are, educational and create an excitement for kids and something they want to participate in. And, myself, I've been out there coaching, and I've, learned how to, make things more appealing, more competitive, more relays, more competition. And so the kids really love that. So again, we continue to modify and develop everything we're doing such that, we can provide the best service possible. We have someone coming on, I believe. Okay. I believe you need to activate your microphone to speak. Please let me know if that's an issue. Okay, so I was waiting for somebody else to come on. Okay. Oh, here we go. Hello? Are you there? No. So I'm scrolling through all the questions, trying to answer any questions you may have. No, so there's a question regarding the guidelines. So if the group remains constant, we don't need to take the 2-week break, right? So our goal is to set our training groups up for the next training period. So we start on the 13th. We plan to create stable groups that allow us to, to continue as we are. So, so we won't need to take a break. That's our hope. Okay, the technology, I'm trying to get people into the room here. I'm waiting. It seems like they're having a hard time getting in. Hello?
Tom, I have a question.
Yeah.
So in the 6-month and 12-month
Yes.
setup, is it possible to just register for the first 6 months, and then if they're good, we continue for the next 6 months? Is that possible?
Yeah, so if you want, so the whole point of the 6-month plan is that, look, it gives you the flexibility to participate for the first 6 months, and then if you want to continue to participate in the spring, you can continue in the spring. That's totally fine. Again, it's just, we're trying to listen to our membership. I after initially putting out the first set of information, we got lots of questions regarding what needs to happen, what happens if this, in different scenarios, right? So we felt like shifting to a 6-month plan was kind of meeting people where they're at and trying to address their concerns. And so, that's what we try to do. So certainly if you sign up for 6 months, you can then sign up again for 6 months again in the spring.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, do you have any other questions?
None from me. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'm going to exit you out of the room here. I'm learning this as we go, so here we go. Hi there. There's another question.
Yeah, Jabin here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So just a continuation to the previous question. So if we don't sign up for the fall, but later we decide to sign up during the spring, the next 6 months, how is that going to be like?
So sorry, just to repeat, if you don't sign up in the fall, but then you want to play in the spring, is that what you asked?
Yeah.
Okay, so in that scenario, you would just basically take a break for fall, and then there'll be a registration window again, kind of probably in December, and you can go ahead and register at that time. So, we will, obviously see where we are at that point in time, and then, there may be tryouts and things like that, right? So, I think your best thing to do at that point is just to reach out to the club, either myself or the existing coach, and, we can try to help facilitate you to get back into the program.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks. Lots more questions. I believe Eric is next. We've got Erica. Okay, let's try this one. Tristan. I'm not sure what happened here. Waiting for people to come in. So I'm waiting for some people to come into the room. I've accepted the invitation, but I'm waiting to answer any questions. Let's go back to the chat while we're waiting here and see if there's anything else I can find. Hi, Tristan.
Hello.
Hi, Tristan.
Hi.
Erica.
Unfortunately, we cannot make to the last 3 weeks on-site training. We already registered for the fall and next spring, and we're asking like, when is the next chance I'll register for the field training? The kids want to do the field training.
So the registration is open right now. So in order to train in July, you need to go ahead and register through the online registration
Yeah,
system.
we already registered. We just want to when is next time for the field training available.
So it will start on July 13th. So the exact schedule isn't figured out yet. We are, working on one, getting a head count, two, understanding how we can apply the guidelines to what we're doing, and then three, just kind of figuring all out the details regarding the field. So, I will have information for you as soon as I possibly can. But right now,
Okay.
it's still TBD. Like I said, if I would love to have the information for you. There's just many factors that are kind of out of my control that we have to work through.
Is there any like online training or instructions for the next 2 weeks?
So for the next 2 weeks, no. So next 2 weeks, typically like in our summer, like in our regular soccer schedule, we typically take like 4 weeks off over the summer. And
Okay.
what I told the staff was, look, we're going to take we're going to have this break because we have to, have stable groups change anyways. So we essentially, have a 2 week break and then we start again. Okay, so just starting July 13th, we'll be back at it on the field.
Got it. Thanks.
Thank you. Hi, Erica. Erica, I knocked your volume off. Sorry, that was my mistake.
Can you hear me now?
I can, yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So just to confirm, I'm understanding correctly, you can register. I know you can register for the fall and spring separately. If you do register for the two different seasons separate, do you end up paying more than you would if you registered as a year up front?
There's a slight difference between the two, right? I
Okay.
think, yeah, just a slight difference.
Okay, and then did I understand correctly that assuming everything stays the same as things are right now today, if we start in the fall in July, would we be doing, in theory, training 3 days a week at Pioneer, just at a distance for the rest of the season?
Yeah. That's the hope, yeah. So listen, yeah. So again, there's many complicating factors, but that truly is the hope. We're looking to get back to that model as soon as possible.
So you would have enough coaches then, because we didn't have enough coaches to do it this last time, right? Because we had to rotate in the 2 week cycles, but we would have enough now.
Yeah. So my challenge, quite honestly, my challenge was I had, probably less than 48 hours to figure out the logistics, right, behind it. So, literally scrambling around to make it work. So we have a little bit more time here. And again, for those people that are planning on playing, just please register, because that will aid me kind of in my process of trying to figure out exactly what the schedule looks like, all the staff in, all the details that come with that, right? So, truly that will help.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks. So another question coming in. Give me a second here. I'm going to try and answer some other ones while we're here. Yeah, so there's some similar questions regarding trainings. We plan to try and get back to our regular training of 2 days a week or 3 days a week. That's kind of our hope. There's a question regarding uniforms. So I sent out some earlier correspondence regarding uniforms. Uniforms are not changing, so we're keeping the same uniforms. So we will have the same uniforms we had in the spring. So hopefully that means that people don't have to go out and buy new uniforms. And so the goal was to try to keep the cost down during these hard times, and try to make what we have work. So there's a couple more questions coming in here, sorry, bear with me. Yeah, questions again. So questions regarding the July 13th. Presuming we get back in the field, we will be able to continue training. Those are some questions that came on. Okay, we have a couple of people coming into the Zoom. Aaron, I'll take your question first, please.
Yeah, hey Tom, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can, thank you.
Yeah, so the question I had was, if I do register my son now, and let's say 60 days from now, the shelter in place or something of that sort kicks in, what happens to the payments? Will the payments for the fall season still go through until they're all done?
So, I mean, listen, I mean, here's the honest truth, right? The reality is that we've split it into 4 payments. You know, if you get to, 60 days time and they cancel it and, we haven't collected all your payments, I mean, you are at liberty to stop those payments. We have no control over that. So if you feel like that's what you want to do, then you can do that, right? For us, we are committed to try and provide a service, whether that's on the field or off the field. Obviously, listen, we all want to be on the field. We all want to do it that way. But again, some of the things are out of our control. So at that point, honestly, it's your choice, right? It's your choice. If you feel strongly that you want to do that, you can do that, right? If you feel like, hey, we can still provide some value for you, given that it maybe isn't exactly what you want, then, obviously, please try to support us during the difficult times.
Got it. Thank you.
Appreciate your time. Thank you. Georgian?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So my question was, we are already in the spring season and we don't know how the COVID is going to play in the fall season. And if you decide to come back in the spring, do we still get the credit for the last spring season, or we have to start from the beginning?
Yeah, we can honor the credit, the credit for you guys. So if you want to come back in spring, we can honor that. That's fine.
Okay, thank you.
There's a couple questions regarding league play, right? So, like, we are working with NorCal. So NorCal is essentially telling us, they're going to continue, right? So they are planning on everything full steam ahead. So they've scheduled, on August 22nd date. They've asked us to, commit teams, right, to tell them how many teams we're going to have. We've obviously not paid anything. They're not asking for fees at this point in time. So, they are planning on a best case scenario, and we need to work through exactly, what that is, right? If the counties say we can't play, right? But if they can, then they're all ready to go, we're all ready to go, and we can go ahead as normal. Georgian, you got a question?
Oh, I just finished my question.
Oh, sorry, I'm getting confused. Sorry, I apologize. Do you have any more questions?
No, thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Take care, bud. Roberto, you got a question as well. Question regarding groups of 12, right? So for the younger guys in the club, the groups of 12 have been, kind of more team-based, right? Because it is a solid team pretty much, right? Whereas some of the older teams, we've had to divide them into 2. Hopefully the guidance changes to the point where we can at least make larger groups, right? And that'll solve a new number of different problems, right? So again, these things are out of my control. As soon as we can go to bigger groups, then definitely we'll look to do that. Roberto.
Tom, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Hey, so the question is, can you tell us the exact date of fall season and then spring season? There's no more summer season, right? So you're saying fall starts July 13th?
Yeah, so typically, outside of COVID, our soccer year basically goes from the middle of July all the way through to the middle of the following June, right? So that's kind of our 12-month cycle, right? So what we're saying now is, there's a fall season, and then there'll be a spring season, if that makes sense, right? So we divide them into 2 6-month blocks. You can still pay for the full 12 month if you want to do that. But if you prefer, you can sign up for the 6 months in the fall and then sign up again for the 6 months in the spring.
Okay, so it's July to December and then January to June.
Basically, yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
No problem, thank you. Any other questions?
Not from us.
Okay, great, thank you. Sorry, I'm scanning through here trying to answer all these questions. Yeah, so yeah, there's some questions come in regarding childcare and school sports and things like that, right? And so the honest answer is I don't know what the future will look like. The guidelines, as I say right now, say that you have to be in stable groups. So you're not supposed to be in a camp in the day and then kind of an AFC training at night, right? So those things don't work. So again, I'm hoping those rules change. Genuinely, I don't know. I don't know what that's going to look like, right? So my hope is that that changes, but like I said, some things are out of my control. Yeah, any more questions, feel free to come and ask me. I've got lots of ones that are written down here. So there's questions regarding O'Malley. So the city of San Jose has not given out any permits, in the evenings. So, we've asked about that, but nothing's come available. So, clubs that are reliant on city fields and things like that, they've had a harder time getting back on the field. And so, like I said, that's why I'm very confident about, Almaden and AFC, because we have this special relationship with San Jose Unified School District. And I think that, this is one of the things that helps us set ourselves apart and allows us to do things that others can't. So, I'm really, quite happy that we have that. And it definitely makes a big difference to be able to provide the service we want to. So I'm trying to scan through here and answer as many questions as I can, Johnny. By the way, if anyone has a question that they don't feel comfortable asking or sharing, please feel free to email me, and I'm happy to reach out personally. A couple more questions coming in. Sorry, here we go. There's a question regarding new players that come into the club. So if you have a new player coming into the club, my suggestion is, if I was in your shoes, I would purchase the training uniforms and I would wait on the game uniforms. So if you're in that scenario, I definitely think about that. Again, I can't sit here and guarantee games will happen. So, again, if I was in your shoes, that's what I would do. We Got Soccer is a uniform provider, and you can contact Kelly and she will be able to give you information regarding that. Anne, how are you?
Can you hear me, Tom?
I can, thank you. Yeah, how are you?
So if my kids is going to a daycare, then she cannot train?
Currently, as the rules are written, yes, that's basically the way the guidelines are written. But again, that may change. So that's the information I have at this moment in time, and so that's how it is. So unfortunately, it's not an Almaden rule. That's a county rule. So that's basically where we're at with that one.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry. I wish I had different information for you. I apologize. Okay, there's a lot of questions that I've kind of gone over. I don't want to bore people with information, right? But in summary, we start July 13th, that's the week where we start. So not every team will train on the 13th, but we will start back on the 13th. So, by then you'll have your schedule, like I said, over the next 2 weeks, we're going to be busy putting together schedules, putting together coach lineups, putting together all that piece of information, right? So that when we get back to it, we're able to hit the ground running and go. And so that's our hope. We'll go back to our regular training sessions. Games, we don't know if games will happen in the fall. If they do, we'll charge a team fee. If they don't, we won't. We have the ability to be on the field, we'll continue to do so as long as possible. If we're not, then obviously we'll change and we'll go to an online platform, and we will up the level of support provided and include technical training and all those types of things. But my true hope and my true belief is that we can truly get back on the field and get kids out there and active, and one, playing soccer, but two, in my opinion, just kind of getting them out and engaging with other kids and getting to a healthy place, right? Again, having twins of my own, I'm sick of Fortnite, I'm sick of iPads, and definitely looking to get them to do something else that's not just me shouting at them. More questions coming in. Yeah, there's a question regarding staffing and sickness and things. Okay, so we, all the staff are screened before they come in. So before they get to the field, or as they get to the field, there's a temperature check. And so we test their temperature, so we make sure that people are not sick, when they come onto the field. And so, we've been able to make that work. In the guidance, there is rules around people filling in for coverage of sessions. So, it has happened. There's been once or twice where we need someone to fill in gaps, and so we've done that. And so, again, from a staffing perspective, I think we'll be fine. I just think we need to know exactly what problem we're trying to solve. Hi, Roberto.
Hey, it's his wife. Quick question. So last practice, there was a bunch of Marines that were running without masks at the Pioneer field. The question is, are we reserving the fields, and do we have rights to it to make sure that doesn't happen again?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So there is rogue groups all over the place, and actually, I spoke to the AD regarding that in the school district. So yeah, they shouldn't be out there, and we've informed. I wasn't actually at the field that day, but I've informed people that that's not allowed, and we'll make sure that they're clear on that can't happen. So yeah, we have exclusive use of Pioneer. So the whole grass area and actually the tennis courts is actually ours exclusively, right? So, anytime the school's not in session or between 4 and 10 in the evening, that's exclusively ours. We have the option to rent some of those spaces out. So if someone wants to book a tennis court, they can do that. But, obviously with the way the grass is right now, the space is a premium. And also, we want to make sure that, we create safe spaces. Again, we went really conservatively in the setup. We only have 6 fields out there. And so there's only 4 teams ever working on that field at any one time. So, again, I think that, we went with the approach of, safety is the number one, right? Soccer second, we want to make sure that everyone's safe, and so we just try to create a safe environment and make sure that we didn't overload the field. So, we will definitely make sure that we take steps that any road groups that are out there, we make sure that they're not on there, and there's enforcement from the school district, and I now have a number to be able to call and be able to make people accountable if we need to.
Great. So the coaches would be equipped with the right information to give any other groups that might be there during practices.
So, sorry, say that again. I didn't quite catch what you said.
So if it were to happen again.
We'll make sure it doesn't happen again. Yeah. So if they do show up, we'll definitely tell them exactly how it is, and we'll make sure that we'll use the school district enforcement if we need to be able to let them know that it's not okay to be there.
Awesome. Thank you, and thank you again for taking the time to do this webinar.
No, it's actually, it's fun. I've learned something, right? It's always, one of the fun things about being in this COVID situation is I've had to do things you've never done before. So I've never hosted a webinar, so check, I've done that one.
Great, thanks.
Yeah. So hey, I think there's some questions in the chat. I think I've addressed a lot of them. I probably haven't addressed all of them. If you feel strongly you want to ask something that I've not covered, then please feel free to jump in and kind of get on the webinar here. you know, like I said, there's lots of information here. I'm trying to do my best to go through it. If you do, you know, have a question and you don't feel comfortable coming onto the webinar, then please just send me an email. My email is tombruff@almondandsoccer.org. My information's on the website, and I've probably sent you about 58 emails in the past few days anyway, so I'm sure you have it somewhere. So, you know, please reach out. You know, like I said, I'm happy to try and answer any questions or concerns. And, you know, the main thing I wanted to say is that, you know, we're excited about soccer. We want to get back to playing soccer. You know, we're committed to getting kids onto the field, and we'll do everything within our power to do that. And if you do want to come back and you do want to play, you know, please go ahead and register, because it allows us to really start putting plans in place to figure out exactly, you know, what it's going to look like, how we're going to set it up, you know, how many groups we need, how many, you know, coaches we need, and all the rest of that. So again, we appreciate your support. You know, we're definitely going through difficult times. Everyone's going through difficult times, and we're learning and trying to figure this thing out as we go. So, you know, we'll remain committed to trying to get kids to play soccer, trying to get them active, engaged, and out on the field, and just having a good time. So, you know, again, if you have any questions, let me know, and I look forward to getting back on the field soon. A couple more questions. Here we go. Oh.
What? I'm gonna go find something.
Some people are asking me how I felt about Liverpool winning the league also. I'm a big Liverpool fan, for those guys that didn't know. So, yeah, we won the league for the first time in 30 years. So thank you for the positive comments regarding that. Okay, I've got a couple more questions coming in, I believe. Okay, I think there's two more people trying to get in here. So I'm waiting for it, trying to get someone in. Abby, I believe, is trying to get in. I've accepted you a few times. I'm not sure what's happening. Any more questions? Anyone's free to ask. Here we go. We've got some more. Okay. Abby seems to be having difficulty getting in. I've accepted you about 4 times. I'm not sure what's happening. Tiffany, are you here? Okay. Okay, I think we've kind of come to the end. It seems like the chat's kind of stopped, and I think that we're in a good place. So, yeah, again, please feel free to reach out to me directly if you have any more questions. And like I said, you know, we are trying to be as open, as transparent as we can about what's happening. And like I said, hoping we can get back on the field soon, and we can stay on the field, and we can really get back to doing what we all love doing. All right. So guys, appreciate your time. Thank you very much. And I look forward to speak to you all soon. All right. Take care. Thank you. Bye.